Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing Roborally from Renegade Games. Roborally is a 2 to 6 player frenetic racing game for, well, a whole bunch of robots trying to accomplish their goals as they race across a variety of maps trying to achieve their various checkpoints in order before the other opponents do so. This game has been out for a long time from a bunch of companies from Avalon Hill, Hasbro, etc, and now we have Renegade Games in partnership with Hasbro bringing a bunch of games to your table, including Roborally, the newest version, the 2023 edition, with some slight adjustments, changes, cleanups, things like that, just quality of life improvements in this classic game. Now in the game, the general idea is you're going to create a map. Now the game does give you, in the rulebook, they have a bunch of preset maps, but you're going to have a map that's going to be set up that's going to give you a bunch of the various things you're dealing with, as well as the various specific checkpoints you're going to. So for example, right now, we have our starting board, which is currently hidden under this board over here. We have our starting board over there, and you're trying to get to checkpoint 1, then 2, then 3. That's this current map setup. Although you can go ahead and create your own maps, you can use their presets, whatever you want as far as how you're going to set up the number of map tiles, the checkpoints that you can have. You can have up to 6 checkpoints, the order of the checkpoints, where they're positioned, all those things completely up to your creativity, or just borrow one of the maps they have with their preset game links, with their starting board, all of that stuff. You're going to have those goals. Now you're going to have a bunch of cards. You're going to go ahead and draw 9 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this is where we're just going to go ahead and program as if we're the blue robot. And we're not heavily going to focus on this. Understand that I'm going to play out a single robot's turn so you understand how things work. But past that, it's basically, well, the same thing with a whole bunch of other players and more chaos. The first thing you're going to do every single turn is you're going to deal with the power-up phase. We start with 3 energy. You also start with 3 power-ups. So you can look at your power-ups over here, and you can decide which of any of these do you want to build. We have a permanent upgrade on these yellow cards, and we have temporary upgrades on these red cards. They each cost 1 energy. We're going to spend 1 energy to go ahead and draw a card. You can do that as many times as you like to draw new cards that will help give you new tools to your disposal. In fact, we just drew a rear laser. This one gives us a rear firing laser in addition to its main laser that fires at the same time. So we're actually going to go ahead and build that. So we're going to build that, paying our remaining 2 energy. We now have one of 3 possible permanent upgrades. You can have 3 permanent and 3 temporary upgrades in play at any time. Temporary upgrades, once you cash them in, you lose them and you can rebuild them. Permanent upgrades, you can build a 4th one and just discard any previously built one. That's going to be the upgrade phase. From there, we go ahead and we keep our other upgrades face down. We just don't show them. From there, we're going to go ahead and deal with our 9 cards over here. We're going to draw 9 cards from the deck, and we're going to go ahead and look to see what options we have. You have moving forward 3, you have moving forward 2, you have turn rotating left, rotating right, moving forward 1, and that's what we have over here. There's also going to be a move backwards card as well as a U-turn card, but they're in the remaining 11 cards that we have in this 20 card deck. And so right now, because of the blue robot, we're going to go ahead and try to figure out the best way to get to checkpoint 1. And I'm going to play these face up so you can see, but normally you'd play these face down because, well, you wouldn't want other players to see as you go through the planning phase. I'm going to start with a move forward 3 over here, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn right over there, and then let's move forward 2, and then let's go ahead, 1, 2, 3, move forward 2. We're going to go ahead and rotate left there, and let's go forward another 1. Okay, we're going to go ahead and play out a simple turn. That's our turn over here. The other players are all going to do the exact same thing. These remaining cards are going to be discarded. That is your turn. Your turn is over. Once all players have gone ahead and set their cards up, all face down, you go ahead and flip them over and resolve, and that's where the chaos can begin, but not necessarily. And I'll mimic the other player's turn for the sake of just showing you how things work. But let's go ahead and do this right now. We're going to start. We're going to go ahead. Let's pretend we have the priority token. We're going to start. We're going to move forward 3. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. You're going to ignore any board elements as you move. You're only going to resolve them at the end of each register of the action card. Meanwhile, let's pretend this guy goes ahead and moves forward 2, 1, 2. Okay, so he moves forward 2, and now we pause. We check this card's done, and we go ahead and check to see what board elements function. Right now, there's no board element function that functions over here at all. Nothing to worry about. But over here, this blue element is going to function, then the green conveyor belts, then the rotations, then these hammer things, and then finally the lasers, all going to do their thing, which will help propel, move, and hurt robots around the board. So for example, right now, we're going to move 1 on this blue conveyor belt, but the blue conveyor belts move 2, so we're actually going to move a second one, and then this one is over here. There's no one on any green conveyor belt, so we can ignore that. But over here on this rotational thing, we're going to rotate, and now we're facing this way. That's going to be our first actions there. We're going to go ahead and resolve our next action. So the next register is going to be rotate right. We're going to go ahead and rotate right over here. And this player over here, let's pretend he played move forward 1. So we're going to go ahead and resolve that as well. So we're going to resolve this. He's going to move forward 1 over here. And then at that point, again, you resolve board elements. You're going to resolve this green conveyor belt. There's no one on the blue conveyor belt. So you're going to resolve the green one, which is going to take us here. But nothing can actually go ahead and move us up there. Meaning right now, the green operates after the blue. So blue won't operate until next turn. Then from there, we're going to go to the next register. We're going to move forward 2 over here. We're going to go 1, 2, moving past the laser. The laser only hurts you if you end your turn on the laser. It doesn't help you it doesn't hurt you as you move through it. It's only if you end there, they have to worry about the laser. So we move forward 2, and this player, let's pretend that they screwed up just a tiny bit, and they meant to rotate left, but they rotated right instead. This is one of those things that will happen in the game because you plan based on how you think things are going to go, but that can be affected both by your poor planning as far as your directional ability to realize that a robot facing this way, the right and left are reversed. A whole bunch of things will get in the way. Plus, of course, other robots can fire at you, hurt you, ram into you, things like that will get in the way. So right now, we resolve all that. This player, again, nothing will happen. We have a very smooth, very boring turn as far as things go, but this player is going to go 1, and then 2, and then rotate that way. Although they thought they'd be rotating the other way, maybe this worked out better for them, except for one small problem, which is they meant to go forward 1, they meant to go, let's say they meant to go backwards 1, because they meant to be facing this way and they meant to go backwards 1, but instead they're facing this way and they go backwards 1 in the next register. So over here, we're going to rotate left over here. We're going to rotate left, simple enough. This player goes backwards 1, hoping to have been here, but they messed up. So instead, they are going over here, at which point board elements rotate and move, and he's going to go ahead and move here, where he's going to face that way. It's all going so far okay, just not the best over there. This player is going to move forward 1, we move forward over here, and this player rotated left over here, which means they unfortunately rotate back this way, but again, board elements will have the way, and he'll rotate right back because of that element. And that is going to be round 1. Let's go ahead and deal with one more round over here. We'll discard our last card. Let's go ahead and deal with one more round. Keep in mind, if at any point at the end of each sequence, if the robots were ever facing each other, they'd fire. So for example, if this robot were over here right now, he would fire at that robot hitting them. And this robot, because he has a rear laser, would fire even in the reverse, which normally you wouldn't do though. So we'll go ahead, we draw 9 more cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at what we have. Doing one more turn, we have power up, which is how we can get energy. You can also get energy by landing on these energy parts over there. These little hammer things will push you in the direction of the push a little knob, but they are only activating on certain rounds. This activates in rounds 1, 3, and 5. This activates around 2 and 4. Rounds meaning these registers over here. So we're still trying to get up over there. Let's go ahead and see if we can have a movement 2 over here. Do we have a movement 2? We don't. That's really sad. We have very little movement here. So how can we take advantage of that? You know, we may just do a movement 1 and a movement 1. Let's go ahead and do that. And then let's do a power up while we slowly move around the board. And then maybe, we're going to go ahead, if we're going to be rotating this way, we're going to go this way. So we need to face that way. We're going to rotate right. And then we're going to go ahead and, let's just do a, I don't know, let's do again and a rotate right. We'll figure this out. We're just going to go ahead and ride that line over here and figure out things out. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and actually resolve this person's hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we're going to go ahead and see what we have. And again, players can spend energy you want over there to go ahead and upgrade things. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and charge confidently. Oh, this is a problem. Do we have a move 3? Please tell me we have a move 3. We don't have a move 3. I don't know what I'm going to do to get out of this. I don't know what I'm going to do. We're going to go ahead and move forward 1, I guess is going to take us off the edge of the board over there, but that's fine. And then we're going to go ahead and, oh dear lord, this is bad. Bad. I don't know how we're going to get out of this situation right now. We're going to go ahead and just move forward 1. We're just going to go ahead and do the best we can over here and just hope for the best. So we're going that way, we're going to rotate that way, then we're going to rotate that way, then we're going to go up 1, then we're going to go up 1, and we're just going to play this out and not worry too much about it because I want to respect your time, and also the chaos kind of adds to how the game actually plays out. So again, we're going to go ahead and pass the priority token. This time we're going to resolve this person first. He's going to go forward 1. We're going to resolve me. I'm going to go forward 1. That's it. Registers are done. Board elements activate. He's going to go 1, 2. Okay. Next round, he's going to rotate right. That's going to be rotating that way over there. He's going to go ahead and step forward 1. Board elements operate. There's no board element here, but he's going to go like that, and that's the next sequence done. Again, no one's facing the other. There's no laser. They're all trying to get to the register 1. Over here, he's going to rotate left over here, which means we messed up already. Did we really mess up already? We did. He rotates left over there. He's going to go ahead and power up, gaining energy. And then they go ahead. He does nothing. He goes over here, but he's actually going to rotate a bit. Normally, if he was going here, he'd rotate into it, but he's going to go over here and rotate into that. You rotate around these conveyor belts, which means he's now facing that way. We go ahead. We're done over here. He steps forward 1. There's a wall here, so he does nothing. And he's going to go ahead and repeat his last action, which was energy. So he's going to go power up. But again, he's going over here like so. That's going to be done like so. And then over here, he's going to move forward 1 into the wall again, doing nothing. He's going to move forward 1 again, doing the wall, doing nothing. So he's having a very abysmal turn. And he's going to go ahead and rotate right, which my right would normally be this way. So my right is instead this way. And then charge forward 1 over there. And that's going to end the round. That's going to be where everything ends over here. He's trying to get to here. He's trying to get over to here. They're both going to have to continue to play cards into registers. Let's just talk about a few more things. Oh, wait. Sorry. My bad. While nothing happens over here, now that he's facing this way, his rear laser is going to activate, which means he's going to deal damage from the damage deck. We're going to go ahead and grab a damage card. We're going to see what it is. And it is a spam card, which goes into the discard pile that will clog your hand. This is a good time to talk about the few remaining things. Basically, we have upgrades. We've shown basically the kind of way they operate. There's a wide variety of upgrades in the game. But as far as damage has two types. There's going to be Haywire and Spam. Haywire goes into the register which you just activated. So that register next turn is going to have a pre-programmed command that you can look at. You can plan around it, but something is locked in there that you can't stop. So you're trying to adjust around whatever it is, although that can actually be a good thing if you can plan around it properly. Meanwhile, Spam is going to the discard pile, but it's eventually going to come into your hand, and it can either clog your hand, or you can play it into a register in order to go ahead and replace it with the top card of your deck, meaning you don't know what's coming next. So you have to choose between clogging your hand, or alternatively not clogging your hand, but at the risk of complete and total chaos. Past that, you're going to go ahead and try to win the game by going through the various checkpoints. Whenever you hit a checkpoint, you're going to mark that you hit that checkpoint. If you ever get knocked off the board or fall into a pit or completely die, you'll respawn at some of the respawn points over there, ready to try again, hopefully a little better this time. And that is basically how you play Roborally, which brings us to the review, starting off with ease of play. This is a very easy game to get people up and running. The rulebook itself is longish, but a lot of it's maps and clarifications and cards and things like that. The actual core rules are a few pages. Ultimately, you draw 9 cards, you place them into various registers. There's some timing things as far as, you're going to be drawing power-ups, you're going to be playing for those power-ups. You can build 1 power per turn, you can have 3 temporary, 3 permanent. I think some basic stuff to go over, but you can get people up and running on this game very quickly, especially if they've played any game at all in this type of genre, in this pre-programmed mechanism. The main thing to lock in is the idea that you are planning out 5 actions in a row, and whatever happens, happens. And that means things like, you may have planned the perfect turn, but if this player goes ahead and moves forward 3, 1, 2, 3, suddenly your perfect turn is knocked off because you're now facing the wrong way. You may take 7 points of damage as you get hit by a laser, and suddenly you put your whole movement forward 1 keeps walking into a wall, hitting a laser. A single thing that throws you off, whether it's misplanning, or whether it's an opponent getting your way, or whether it's a haywire, any of those things that get in the way will start resulting in absolute chaos, and you have to be okay with that as a game concept. As far as game length varies drastically depending on the size of the map. You can play a game of Roborally that's a half-hour long. You can play a game of Roborally that's 2.5 hours long, and the games can definitely vary both on player count as well as how well players can actually plan, because if you proceed to not make your way to the end for a whole bunch of turns in a row, this game can definitely drag on. As far as what I like, don't like, and conceal as not liking, starting off with what I like, which is the programming madness in the game. The game relies on you trying to optimize and plan around how you think this board is going to play out, planning around the various board mechanisms, planning around the other players, how close are you to other players, how much interaction are you likely to have with those players, how much interaction are you having with the board, and can you tell your lefts from your rights, especially when facing in the wrong direction. It gives you enough room to feel clever as you perfectly plan your turn, while also enough room for chaos to ensue, resulting in just pure hilarity in the game. So it has pre-programming, it has strategy, it also has chaos and madness in a way that's just fun. And speaking of fun, the upgrades as well are just fun. There's a whole stack of upgrades over here. Just a ton of upgrades, temporary and permanent, things that will, when you do a U-turn, you're going to go ahead and suddenly, throw a laser in all directions. There's going to be different things that improve your weapons, that give you different movement abilities, give you the ability to draw more cards. There's a whole stack of upgrades here that will just give you a ton of things that just make you feel progressively more powerful as you gather energy and level up in the game. Additionally, the game is easy to teach and play, and it falls into a weird middle ground of party game and strategy game, and the player count does work for that. You can play this as a small tight game with 3 players, you can play this as a large sprawling just chaos with 6 players, and the game operates differently at different player counts and different map sizes, but it does operate at different player counts and different map sizes. So it's a quick game to teach, to play, to get up and running. It's fun, it's strategic, has a whole bunch of chaos and everything mixed into it that just makes it an overall fun experience, but not a perfect experience. There's a bunch of things that I don't like as well. First of all, the upgrades I find are far too infrequent. I find upgrades, you're going to get the best upgrade sense of the game if you're playing a long, sprawling, 2-hour-long map, where you get a bunch of opportunities to gather energy, to build up your upgrades, to work your way slowly towards a more powerful robot. That's all fun and good, but in shorter maps, which is generally where I prefer to play this game, and under that hour range, you might get 1 or 2 meaningful upgrades in play, maybe a temporary upgrade or 2. I find the upgrades are so tempting as far as what they promise you that you can do, but you don't see nearly enough of them in a normal standard game, and you really have to play a longer epic sprawl, which I don't feel is as well suited to Roborally. I feel that Roborally as a 2-hour-long game can get tiring, can be a little exhausting. As tempting as it is to play a 6-point checkpoint game across 4 maps with 6 players, that's going to be an all-day experience to a large degree, and you want to be careful as far as where this game shines and where it starts to wear a bit thin. And so the upgrades truly shine when the game itself is feeling like it's a little bit, it's better to have been over already. And so that's a tough balance as far as the upgrades go. It's also easy to get left behind in the game. This is a game where a player who's managed to, properly plan their move and not have other things get in their way will be well on their way to checkpoint 2, while other players are still dithering around trying to find the way to checkpoint 1. This is easily a game that has there's no catch-up mechanic in this game. I mean, sure, you try to shoot the person with lasers and stuff like that, but there's only so much you can do before you're just getting in your own way. And so especially, again, in longer games, it's another area where if you're playing an hour-long game, okay, the fact that you got left behind half, it's not a big deal. You're playing a 2.5-hour-long game, and that same problem ensues. So again, it's a problem at any player count, at any game length, but it's more of a problem the longer the game goes. It's easy to be left behind if a player just manages to get out of the hullabaloo of all the players trying to convalesce around that single flag and checkpoint, as there's no strong catch-up mechanic in the game. And lastly, I'll say that the easy maps tend to be a bit more boring, and the more complicated maps tend to be a bit more frustrating, and there's not a strong, easy middle ground. The maps are full of movement things, and things that get in the way, and things that make it intentionally hard to get to a checkpoint, but that means that the less stuff there is, the more it's like, okay, I go forward 3, I turn left, I go forward 2. It's a weird balance of, sometimes it feels just a little too easy to get what you want, past the other players getting in the way. But other times, it feels like there's just too many things that are just making it nearly impossible to actually end up where you're trying to end up, and it comes down to the perfect combination of cards in your hand, and possibly a bit of luck and perfect planning to actually get to a checkpoint. There's a weird middle ground where only sometimes do I feel like there's a good balance, other times I feel like it's a little too easy or a little too pure chaos on those maps. As far as things I can see others not liking, first of all, interactions, except at very high player counts, can feel a little bit more minimal. Sure, you'll hit a guy with a laser, and once in a while you'll knock him into the wall, but there's not as much getting in each other's way as the game would initially promise at lower player counts. Sure, if you're playing a 6-player game where you're all racing out the gate to get to flag 1, you will find yourself getting in each other's way more often, but it also means higher downtime and higher, a longer game experience, and possibly less control. And so there's less interactions than I'd want at lower player counts, and less strategy than I'd want at higher player counts. It's an impossible balance to perfectly get. And secondly, is damage isn't always bad. In the game, you're going to draw haywire cards that will go into your register, and if you can plan around those, they can even help you out. Some of them are like really strong, like move forward 5 and just don't hit any walls along the way. If you plan around that properly, you can get a strong boost over your opponents, and I happen to enjoy that aspect of it, but you may find it frustrating to be like, yeah, I shot you, and now you're charging across the map, and I can't stop you anymore because you got that perfect U-turn, sidestep 2, and move forward 1. The haywire cards are indeed haywire, for better or for worse. As far as final thoughts on Roborally, I overall enjoy this game, but it's not a perfect experience, not by a long shot. Roborally is a game that gives you a lot of party elements and enough strategy elements that it's a fun time. This is a game I've never had a bad time playing, but it's also far from perfect. It's a game that combines strategy and chaos in a way that kind of makes it so that it's the best of both worlds and also the worst of both worlds at the same time. It's not party enough for a pure party experience, and it's not nearly strategic enough to be a game where you feel truly in control of your own destiny. The last game of this I played ultimately came down to who went first that turn, and that person was the one who was able to knock into the other person and therefore, end up winning the game. And those kinds of things happen in this game all the time. It is strategy, but with a pure amount of chaos thrown in from the players, from the board, from just messing things up, that ultimately results in it being a game that feels more like a party game, but also doesn't feel enough like a party game to truly fit. I would say that's a game that, for me, this game is a 3.5 out of 5. It is good, it is fun, but I feel the chaos and programming work really well, but do work better in other games. Particularly, I'd say that this kind of chaos aspect, because of the nature of the fact that luck and chaos can all get in the way, to a certain extent, this kind of thing works better in a cooperative experience. So for me, a 3.5 out of 5, a lot of things to like here, a lot of things to enjoy, but also a system that I think I like seeing better in other games. And speaking of other games, speaking of game recommendations, first of all, Mechs vs. Minions. If you are looking for a cooperative game that gives you that power, that Roborally approach to just, planning things out and seeing how things go, I think Mechs vs. Minions does it in an overall better way. There's more powers and abilities coming to play more frequently, and the things that go wrong affect you collectively as a team, which makes it feel like more like a fair experience when things affect one player versus the other, because you're all working towards those same objectives. So I think Mechs vs. Minions, it's hard to get your hands on, it's a little pricey, but I think that will give you a similar experience, but possibly in a better way. And then similarly, Quad Heroes is a game that will give you solo, cooperative, and competitive play within a programming system. I think it is a lot more to mentally pick up what the game is doing. So if you're looking for something that's easy to play with friends, with families, with gateway gamers, I think Roborally is a better choice in that category, but if you like the concept of Roborally and you just want a bit more out of the experience and you're prepared to take on a bit more, I think Quad Heroes does a lot for the genre. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Hope you found this review helpful, and as always, I hope you have a good one.